In a small, forgotten village nestled between rolling green hills, there lived a woman known to all as Ilara. Her home was a humble cottage, but its doors were always open. What was unusual about Ilara was her shop. It had a sign that read, "The shop of everything and nothing," but inside, there were no price tags, no cash register, just simple wooden shelves filled with curious objects, a smooth river stone, a single bird feather, a jar of what looked like morning mist, and a book with empty pages. People from all over would travel to see her, each carrying a heavy heart or a troubled mind. They didn't come to buy, they came to receive. Ilara never sold a single thing. Instead, she gave. But what she gave wasn't what you could hold in your hand. A young man named Liam arrived one day, his shoulders slumped with the weight of failure. He was a musician, but his melodies no longer brought him joy. "I've lost my passion," he confessed to Ilara, his voice barely a whisper. "My music feels empty," Ilara listened patiently, her eyes reflecting a deep, calm understanding. She didn't offer advice or platitudes. Instead, she handed him a small, intricately carved wooden bird. "Listen to its song," she said softly. Instead, she handed him a small, intricately carved wooden bird. "Listen to its song," she said softly. Confused, Liam took the bird. It was just an object, silent and still. He thanked her and left, feeling a little disappointed. He had hoped for a grand solution, a magical cure for his creative block. Back in his small room, he placed the wooden bird on his windowsill. As the days passed, he would often glance at it. He started to notice the real birds outside his window, their songs weaving through the morning air. He began to truly listen not just with his ears, but with his whole being. He heard the rhythm in the rain, the harmony in the wind, and the silence between the notes. Slowly, almost without realizing it, he picked up his instrument again. But this time, he didn't try to force a melody. He simply played what he heard around him. His music was no longer empty. It was filled with the life he had started to notice. The wooden bird hadn't sung a note, but it had taught him how to listen again. It had given him the gift of presence. A while later, a wealthy merchant named Marcus visited Ilara's shop. He was successful, with more gold than he could ever spend, but he was plagued by constant worry. He feared losing his wealth, being cheated, and making bad investments. His riches had become a prison of anxiety. "I have everything," Marcus declared, gesturing with his jeweled hands, "but I have no peace. I can't sleep at night. What can you give me to fix this?" Ilara smiled gently and led to a shelf where a simple, empty clay bowl sat. She picked it up and placed it in his hands. "This is for you," she said. Marcus stared at the bowl, bewildered. "It's empty." "What good is an empty bowl to a man who has everything?" "Perhaps," Ilara replied, "you need a place to put your worries. Every evening, before you sleep, imagine you are placing all your anxieties into this bowl. See them fill it up. Then, in the morning, imagine yourself tipping the bowl over and emptying it out. Start each day anew with an empty bowl. Then, in the morning, imagine yourself tipping the bowl over and emptying it out. Start each day anew with an empty bowl." Skeptical but desperate, Marcus agreed to try. The first night, he sat with the bowl, mentally pouring his fears into it. To his surprise, visualizing his worries contained in one place made them feel more manageable. The next morning, he performed the simple ritual of emptying it. As the weeks went on, this small act became a powerful anchor in his life. He learned that he could choose not to carry his worries with him all day. The empty bowl, a thing of no monetary value, had given him the priceless gift of release. One crisp autumn afternoon, a young woman named Anya walked into the shop. Her eyes were red from crying. She had just lost her grandmother, who had been her best friend and confidant. The world felt gray and joyless, and she was drowning in her grief. "The pain is too much," she sobbed. "I don't know how to go on without her," Ilara didn't say. "She is in a better place, or time will heal you." She simply wrapped a warm shawl around Anya's shoulders and led her to a comfortable chair. She handed her a small, smooth gray stone from the river. "Hold this," Ilara whispered. "Feel its coolness? Feel its weight? This stone has been in the river for thousands of years. It has been tumbled and tossed by the current, worn down and shaped by the water. It has endured. It doesn't fight the river. It becomes part of its journey." Anya clutched the stone in her palm. It was solid and real in a world that felt like it was falling apart. She sat in silence for a long time, just feeling the stone. She thought of her grief as a powerful river. She had been trying to fight it, to build a dam against it, but it was exhausting her. Holding the stone, she realized she didn't have to stop the river. She just had to endure the tumbling. The stone didn't take away her pain, but it gave her a tangible symbol of resilience. The stone didn't take away her pain, but it gave her a tangible symbol of resilience. It gave her the gift of endurance, the quiet strength to let her grief flow through her, knowing that, like the stone, she would be reshaped but would ultimately remain. The villagers began to understand. Ilara wasn't giving away trinkets. The wooden bird wasn't about music. It was about presence. Ilara wasn't giving away trinkets. The wooden bird wasn't about music. It was about presence. The empty bowl wasn't about wealth. It was about release. The river stone wasn't about loss. It was about endurance. Ilara's shop thrived, not on commerce but on connection. She gave people what they truly needed, not what they thought they wanted. She gave them tools to find the wisdom that was already inside them. Years passed and Ilara grew old. One day, a young girl, no older than 10, entered the shop. She wasn't sad or troubled. She was just curious. She looked at all the strange objects on the shelves. "Why don't you sell anything?" she asked, her voice bright and clear. Ilara, now with lines of wisdom etched around her eyes, smiled warmly. "Because the most valuable things in life cannot be bought or sold." She then walked over to a shelf and picked up a small, ornate mirror. It wasn't a magic mirror that showed the future or a distant land. It was just a simple, clear mirror. She handed it to the little girl. "What's this for?" The girl asked, looking at her own reflection. "To remind you," Ilara said, her voice full of kindness, "that everything you are looking for, courage, kindness, wisdom, and love, is already right there. You just have to learn how to see it." The story of Ilara and her shop lived on long after she was gone. It became a legend whispered from one generation to the next. A reminder that in a world obsessed with acquiring more, the greatest gifts are the ones that make us feel whole, not the ones that fill our hands. The gifts of presence, release, endurance, and self-awareness are the true treasures, and they are available to all of us if we only know where and how to look. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more tales that explore the heart and mind. We'll see you in the next one.